Best.
Is it
Good
bad? I'm
morning.
in color. Sorry.
That's where we call talking over one another. It's if you're going for more realistic radio banter. Um, Hi everybody, my name is Evan Jones. I'm the community manager for Pursuitery.com. Thank you all for joining us today. Today we're going to give you out some hints for our second challenge in coding with Scratch, the maze game. Joining me today will be Brian Foley, who will be acting as our hints coach. Thank you very much for showing up, Brian. How are you?
Thanks, Evan. Doing great. Happy to be here.
And as always, our fearless co-host, the Summer Youth Ambassador, who should ambassador all of our summers, Mickey. Hey, Mickey. Please
Hello.
twist your questions. Hey, please twist your questions using the hashtag coding with Scratch. We've collected some questions here from some various sources. Again, as I said, this is the second of 5 coding with Scratch challenges offered by Pursuitery. Once you complete all 5 challenges, you're eligible to receive a Scratch Digital Ninja Badge. So just so you know, you can complete all those challenges, 1 through 5, by August 24th at 11:59 Pacific Daylight Time, which is California time because we're in California, and you'll receive a badge. But if you complete your challenge within this week, by Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. on Sunday night, you will be eligible to receive a Makey Makey. All right, these are awesome. And more importantly, Mickey here will be hosting our Prize Time Geekout on Thursday at 10 a.m. That's listed on Pursuitery.com right now. You can go check that out. Mickey's guest this week will be Eric Rosenbaum, who's actually the co-creator of the Makey Makey. Very nice guy, very interesting guy, fun to talk to. And you can do a lot of really cool things with these things, and a lot of cool things with these and Scratch in conjunction, so you can make your game more physical. If you have any questions, again, we'll be answering them toward the end of the Geek Out during our Q&A session, where we'll be talking about some hints and some tips. We have a couple of things that Brian's going to explain to us in his infinite and unparalleled wisdom. But please feel free to tweet them at us using Coding with Scratch. Also, I want to point out that code-specific questions, more in-depth questions that require some interaction, possibly looking at your code for the challenges, and improving your game, should be directed to our Scratch coaches in our Scratch Studio for Challenge 2. I'm going to read out the link to that. That would be intr.st/Scratch Studio 2C. That's intr.st/Scratch Studio 2C. And the Maze Game Challenge is online and active now on Pursuitery.com. So you can find the link to that below if you're watching this on a live stream on our embed page. Just look for the link that says Get Help from Scratch Coaches. So today's Geek Out is about some hints. It's going to be very quick. We're going to break down what you need to participate, how to submit challenges, and how to get help. And then we're going to address some questions that we've received through our various streams. Please remember we're doing a show and tell on Friday, so you can show your stuff there. That's 10 a.m. on Friday, the show and tell. You can watch that live again on the stream on Pursuitery.com on this same website. And also continue to ask us questions via Coding with Scratch. We're always looking for submissions to feature on the show and tell, so feel free to holler at us via either the challenge, the questions via Twitter, or via our webpage itself. We'll take any and all submissions to review. So first off, to participate in this challenge, you're going to need a Scratch account, which is available at scratch.mit.edu. You'll also need to join Pursuitery.com. Both of those are free. Again, you can join Scratch for free, you can join Pursuitery.com for free, and you'll have to be logged in to join the challenge on Pursuitery. You just click Participate on the Coding with Scratch Maze Game Challenge, and as long as you're logged in, you should then be able to see where it says Submit Challenge. Click on that, you'll be able to submit a link to your Scratch entry, and again, the deadline this week, if you're in the running for the Makey Makey, which I should be holding with the other hand, is going to be Sunday, June 29th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, because we're in California, where America ends and the Makey Makey giveaways begin. So if you need to edit your submission, we've had a few people ask, you can go back to our challenge page if you're logged in on Pursuitery with your account, and you'll be able to submit a link to your Scratch entry or new Scratch entry by clicking Edit Your Submission. And that'll update the listing, and you can enter your new URL to your project there. Now, moving on, as we mentioned before, as far as getting help goes, we can only go so far in hints. there's so much to talk about. There's so many avenues and different tips and tricks and approaches to Scratch. It's just like coding. There's no one ultimate right way, but there's a lot of ways to accomplish what your goals are. You can visit the Scratch Studio for Challenge 2 and leave comments or questions for our judges. That's what I was talking about before. And again, the big thing, everybody, is to not worry if you're having a hard time or not having everything come out perfect the first time. The whole idea of this is to get very comfortable working with Scratch and have a really good time, and to just get excited about telling stories and making games of your own using the tools. But again, if you go to, and I'll read it out very slowly because it seems a little daunting at first, but trust me, it's easy. intr.st/Scratch Studio 2C. That's Scratch Studio 2C. That's where we have our Challenge Coaches Center. So you can submit questions there and get more in-depth review of your code and breakdowns there. And again, if you're watching this live on the live stream, welcome. You can check to see any questions you have. You can send in to us on the comments page on the actual webpage on Pursuitery. Mickey will check them. And also, you can tweet at us using the hashtag #CodingWithScratch. So let's break down to it, since we've done our intro there. Big old, lots of air going through my lips there, discussing everything. The maze game has 3 components. There's 3 things we need to achieve to basically have the challenge be complete. Number 1, create 2 different mazes for the player to navigate using the arrow keys. Number 2, limit the time for the player to solve the maze. And number 3, create walls that a player cannot cross. Those are the 3 requirements for the game. Today we had a couple questions about mazes and maze sequences. You know, you can have the 2 mazes, the 2 different mazes tying into one another in the game. So you finish one level and you go directly to another. And we also had questions about sprite resources and variables. Sprites being the little cool animated characters. I warn you though, sprites are an addicting thing to get used to. Next thing you know, you're looking at sprites all the time. You're obsessed with getting more and more sprites into your game. I did the challenge myself as a test last week, and then I spent an extra 2 hours finding sprites to get some of my favorite characters into my own games. And the final question was about variables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Brian live on mic, and we're going to try not to talk over each other too much. And I'm going to pose these questions to him because I think his breakdown will be far more technically advanced. Now, if you're watching this on the live stream, and if you're taking part in the challenge anywhere, in any way, shape, or form, I really do suggest you look at our Coding with Scratch Maze Game Hints video. That's going to be live on the challenge page right now. We also have it on our YouTube stream. That breaks down a lot of the stuff that refines the game, a lot of the stuff that people have asked about, but that kind of goes step by step and shows you in context with moving code blocks. And between that and our Scratch Studio challenges, our Scratch Studio coaches, you should be pretty set. You can get pretty far with this one. So let's get Brian live on mic, and I'll go ahead and pop these questions to him. Brian, how you doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. It was cool to see all the chasing game that people put together last week, and I'm looking forward to seeing some cool mazes out now. We're looking for lots of interesting variations. We posted a real basic maze game, so hopefully people will go beyond that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was agreeing with you. We've been teased via Twitter about. We've been teased via Twitter that there would be a Pac-Man-like game. So,
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, the mazes are a great way to put challenges into the game and to sort of force the player to navigate, you know, a complicated environment. You know, and people have been doing maze games forever. Nowadays, we've got really cool graphics. People can do things like Minecraft and stuff like that. But the maze is a great way to start developing new games. The first thing we've got to figure out, of course, is that basic idea of the maze. How do you force people to stay within the maze and keep them in there? And so we talked about that in the video yesterday, and how to do that. Was there a question that you had about that one? I don't remember the first question.
I have a total of 4 questions here. This is kind of the big one, and I know we do explain this in the video, but if you can give a brief rundown. What should I do to get started on level 2 of the mazes? And what I assume this is somebody finishes level 1
Mm-hmm.
and they want to be sent to level 2. So that's
Absolutely.
on you.
Yeah, so there was a couple of things we introduced in this game. One was the creating of the walls so to keep people in the maze, and the other is that once you finish one maze, then you get to get on to the second one. How you do the switch is a real key. Of course, like with anything in Scratch, there's lots of different ways you can do it. But the easiest thing to do is to have some sort of check to see when they've solved the maze, if they've arrived at the exit, and then once that happens, you can broadcast a message that will make everybody sort of reset their places. You want to switch the background to a second maze. You want to get your characters, whoever's running the maze, you want them to be in the starting location, and just so use that broadcast command to send a message to everything in the game to reset itself for the second maze. Oh, I think we lost your audio even.
Oh, I always try to like give the acknowledgement that I'm turning the audio back on, but then I don't want to clamor all over the keyboard.
You got 10 for it or something. Yeah.
Hand signals. I would like to see if we can. I'd like to set off smoke signals in the office, but I don't think that's cool. However, smoke signals in a maze game would be amazing.
Excellent.
I'm sorry. We should be having fun with it. It's a challenge of fun. So looking at question number 2, and this is actually a sub-question going on to sprites, and this is in the hints video as well, but how do I get sprites, and how do I center and resize them?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so with the sprites, there's several ways to get sprites. They have a collection of sprites. First of all, you want to make sure you're not going to the costumes, right? Every sprite can have lots of costumes, but you don't want to just add a new costume, you want to add a new sprite. So that's going to be down in the lower left corner of the screen, and there's several ways to add a new sprite. You can add it from the library, you can import a graphic that's going to create a new sprite, or you can even take a picture with the webcam if you got a webcam on your computer. So all those icons are down over in the lower left sprite section, so you can add a new sprite on there. And then, of course, each sprite keeps its own script, so you got to make sure you keep track of where your scripts are.
That is one of the things I hear from people, and actually when I've started messing around with Scratch myself so I could be in a position to talk to people about it, is that sometimes you've got to keep track of where your scripts are. It can be a little buried.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the bigger suggestions I have. As
Absolutely.
far as centering and resizing them go, is it just I'm clicking on that particular sprite?
Well, centering is interesting. So for resizing, that's pretty straightforward. At the very top bar, there's a set of icons. One is a stamp that allows you to copy things. One is a scissors that allows you to delete a sprite. And then there's a grow sprite and shrink sprite icon. Basically, you just click on that icon, and then you click on the sprite you want to grow or shrink. You can also do it through the scripts, because under the looks category, they have a block for growing or changing the size of your sprite.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So moving on, we had another question about variables. I believe in the example, and this is me pulling from memory, that we have a health variable for the hints as one of the things that we can add, and somebody was questioning us about what other variables could you introduce.
Mm-hmm.
I had a variety of them. I was thinking you could have a game where you have Superman, and you could have like a kryptonite variable that actually runs higher that damages people. It's a little complex. It kind of flips around the idea of scripts and timers there, but I just wanted to put that towards you because I think it's a softball question in some ways, but I think it's a really fun softball question from somebody. I think they just want to see how crazy we could get with it. So,
well, I mean, the first thing you can obviously do with any game is create some kind of a score. So like in Pac-Man, you've got 8 little dots, and every time you eat a dot, your score goes up. You could have all kinds of obstacles, or if you go in the wrong direction, you could lose your score. So a score is the most obvious thing that you could use with the variable. We talked about having a health variable, so that your character, maybe if they don't eat or something after a while, they're losing their health. There's all sorts of ways you could interact with that. And some kind of a superpower variable. It sounds like what you're talking about with the kryptonite. That'd be pretty fun too.
Well,
if you look at all the games out there, you can charge a weapon, you can build up, for some kind of a move, all kinds of things that you can do. Now, in the hints video that you mentioned earlier, we talk about how you can animate your character with the sprite sheets, and so that's a lot of fun. If you're feeling pretty comfortable with Scratch, go ahead and try out the sprite sheets, and like you said, it's pretty addictive.
Yeah, I think I'd specifically like to see somebody introduce a kryptonite variable because it actually injures your character.
Mm.
That's kind of a weird take, and if you can combine that with a timer, that's some pretty advanced coding there. It takes some time.
Nice.
So those are all the basic questions we had. Again, I welcome any and all questions for not only this challenge but all the others on the Scratch Coaches Studio.
Mm-hmm.
The specific Scratch Coach Studio for this challenge, being the maze game, is going to be at intr.st/maze game 1. That's just going to take you right to our Scratch Studio challenge there. But those are the 4 questions we had today. I'd like to reiterate our Geek Out schedule for the week. We've got coming up on the 26th is prize time. That's where Mickey will be giving away one of these.
Those are great.
The Makey, yeah, and Eric Rosenbaum is going to be on. And if you have questions for Eric, please tweet them to us at Pursuitery using the hashtag Coding with Scratch, because Eric's going to have a variety of interesting questions and interesting answers put to them and coming from him. So we're very excited to do that. And please, everybody, if you have any questions, go ahead and get those to us for that one. That'll be at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on June 26th. And on June 27th at 10 a.m., we'll be doing the show and tell for the week. Lots of amazing entries last week, a variety of amazing entries. And so what we want to do is go ahead and take some of the best from this week and just any of your submissions and review them, and then kind of walk through them online with some links and some codes. Again, please submit those to us via our Scratch Coaches Studio, or talk to us even in the forums if you see us on Scratch, because we're happy to take and look at any and all submissions for that. We've got a variety of amazing games coming in. And that's going to do it for the Hints Geek Out today. I'd like to thank you all on behalf of our special guest, Brian, for answering some questions. Thank you very much for coming in, Brian.
You bet.
Via the power of the interwebs. And thank you again, Mickey. We will see everybody again, both online on Pursuitery on the Scratch Studios, as well as next time on Thursday at 10 a.m., wherein Mickey here gets to give away the Makey from last week's challenge. And again, if you'd like to be in the running for this week's challenge, you've got to submit by Sunday night at 11:59 Pacific Daylight Time. Excuse me. I'm so excited I can't talk. You have to submit by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. But just to remind everybody, the challenges are open all summer long until August 24th at 11:59 p.m. So if you're in for the badge, as long as you submit by then, you can do that. And again, if you have thoughts about everything we're doing here, because it's a big, wide open experiment and we're having a lot of fun with it, but we'd like to refine it and make it better for everybody involved, please post Twitter questions, post your thoughts, more importantly about the challenges and everything, via the Coding with Scratch hashtag, and we will find it and we will get back to you. We really want to know what you think, and we do appreciate any and all advice, thoughts, suggestions, etc., etc. Overwhelming response from everybody so far. It's really heartening to see, and it's one of those things that like gets us out of bed in the morning, really excited to do this more and more and work with Scratch. So on behalf of all of us at Pursuitery.com, my name is Evan Jones. You guys take care. We'll see you very soon.